I think it's time for the American people to connect and have a class conscious and find out we are in it. And the solution has to come from people movements, because they are organized up there. The 1% are very organized.
They are the problem!
Hey there, what do you guys think of this?
I think it's great. I'm with these people.
Good.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, we both support it, so it's great.
I hope that this country can now step forward and follow the leads that have happened in the Middle East to many of the Arab countries where people movement rose up, and you see the results of them. And it hasn't been violent either. Let me say that. There's no need for violence at all.
Well, after the former governor, Jesse Ventura, we now welcome Ahmed Tharwat. He has long been a naturalized American citizen. His country of origin, Egypt. Ahmed tracks events in the Mideast. Do you share Jesse Ventura's view that the Arab Spring could become an American Spring?
Well, I think it's not just Jesse Ventura. I think when you look at how the movement started, it started by a call from the editor of Adbusters in Canada, which is an anti-consumerism magazine. And the editors asked if we're going to have any change, we have to do something, and we have to model it after what happened in Tahrir Square. So technically and historically, the movement modeled itself after what happened in Tunisia and Egypt and so. So in a sense, people movement and people have grievances and not ideological movement or a political movement. Just a movement of people are fed up with the system, and the system doesn't represent them anymore. And people from all walks of life, they want to have a place, have a space where they can debate their issues and ask for change. And in that sense, I think there is a lot of similarities between what happened in Egypt and Tunis and Syria and what's happening now in New York and Minneapolis and Oakland and all these major places.
I should note that Ahmed Tharwat produces and hosts a television series called Beladan. Beladan is carried by Comcast Cable in the southwest suburbs and on the Minnesota channel.
The show is called Bil Ahdan, which means with open arms, and it's just introducing different ideas and looking at current events from a Middle Eastern perspective.
Now, you visit the demonstrations down at Hennepin County Government Center, correct?
I just came from there.
What happened?
Well, this is a day was a celebration of the 2 months anniversary, and the solidarity with what's happening, what happened in New York a couple of days ago, which is attack on a peaceful demonstration by the police. And I think this is what the movement needed. It needed a villain, and that's when we talk about the similarity between the two. Arab Spring and American Spring, the three things that really needs to have or needs to happen to have any change. The first one is a number game. You need a lot of people showing up. And the second thing is location. You need the central location where people can focus on, like Tahrir Square. The third one, oops, I forgot that third one.
It's just like that guy from Texas.
I'm becoming a Republican as we speak here. No, and the third one, you need a villain like Mubarak, like Ben Ali, like Bashar, Assad, all those. And I think
who's the villain here?
I think Blumenberg volunteered to be the villain to this movement, and he's going to galvanize the people who are standing on the sidewalk.
The mayor of New York.
The mayor of New York, and I think this movement was in a dire need for someone to kind of represent what's wrong with the system, what's wrong with Wall Street, and a billionaire like the Mayor Bloomberg, he really thankfully stepped to the plate.
So Ahmed, what can American citizens, politicians, and corporations learn from the Mideast?
I think they learned that eventually people will win. I mean, dictators in the Middle East, they really try to survive by any means, and by violence, by maneuvering, by politics, by lying, cheating. But people broke the fear factor, And no matter what you do, eventually the people win. And you know, when you talk about the Middle East and the Arab Spring, it was against political dictator, corrupt dictators of generals and military and oppression. The American Spring is against another form of dictatorship, the Wall Street dictatorship. Maybe what's happening now in New York and Minneapolis and Oakland, it's on a smaller scale. It's just exactly what happened in Cairo and Tahrir Square 6 years ago, where, you know, start on a smaller scale, and the police and Mubarak was able to contain it one way or another. But 6 years later, it just spilled out, and it brought everybody in, and it was just a massive movement that the system could not contain. And I think this is what's going to happen here. People try to ignore it, but eventually they're going to start fighting it, and that's what's happening now. The police start fighting. Once they start fighting this movement, the movement won. That's, I think Gandhi said something like that. So,
well, what would you tell Barack Obama if you had 20 minutes with him?
Well, I think Barack Obama is a disappointing in his leadership in this, and I think he's absent of all of this. And he's just here is an overpriced winner. Now is launching a new Cold War in Asia, and he's talking about strengthening our military in Asia, and he's talking about you know, military threat in their area. And I think now he's just acting like Bush.
What were your feelings when the Arab Spring bloomed in Cairo?
I think, I mean, I've been in Tahrir Square when I wasn't as young as those millions of people show up. In 18 days, there was 18 million people in the street. 5 million people on February 11th in Tahrir Square alone. So seeing this massive people with the things that we could not do in the 70s and the 80s as youngsters, you see this massive of people coming to ask for one thing, change. And you know, I could have been more proud of the young Egyptians and the people who really put their life on the line. You know, you're talking about 3,000 people getting killed, and people, you know, there was no recourse for Mubarak police regime to use violence, and used violence, but these people stood there and they put their life on the line. But here, you know, people who go to People Plaza or go to New York, Wall Street Plaza there, they're not facing the same brutality. And I think there is a lesson to be learned here. If the millions of Egyptians, millions of Arabs were there, ready to die for change for the whole country, it tells the American people that they are mostly busy in the shopping malls. And now you know, you have the 99% have the 1% impact on what's going on, and the 1% have a 90% impact on events and what have you. I think should be reversed.
As an American citizen, you're telling us to wake up.
I think it's time for the American people to connect and have a class conscious and find out we are in it. And the solution has to come from people movements, because they are organized up there. The 1% are very organized, and the 99% they're just starting to organize, and you can see the impact that they are having now. And I think there is no going back. This is going to go and get stronger, and it's going to affect 2012 election, and it's changing the conversation. You know, it used to be the Tea Party and the government, all the solution, I mean, all the problem and all that. Now the conversations, Wall Street is the problem, not the government.
Right now it's goodbye, and Ahmed, would you say goodbye in your inimitable way?
Ma salama and irhal.
What does that mean?
Irhal, that was the most agreed on demand of the millions of the Egyptians, which is a message to Mubarak to leave.
Okay.
It's very simple. There was no violence in it, just leave. And that was irhal.
Democratic Visions is handmade by volunteers for DFL Senate District 42, Lori Pryor, Chair. Democratic Visions can also be seen on YouTube and at dflsd42.org.